This horror season, Amazon Music has chilling news for you. Listen to exclusive episodes of Nocturnal Criminalist about forbidden rituals, where you can explore the dark and mysterious world of rites, sects, and ceremonies. Available only on Amazon Music. Don't miss these episodes and more of the best podcasts at free included with your Prime membership. Don't wait any longer and start listening, downloading the Amazon Music app for free. It's a great pleasure to be with you guys again, to spend the next few minutes sharing true crime stories. And of course, we're together in another October of Tales, our favorite time of the year. So, without further ado, let's dive into the following story. He entered a bar and was never seen again. The disappearance of Brian Shaffer is one of the most shocking enigmas in US criminal history. But what happened on the night of March 31st, 2016?
A story about a missing person where fate seems unusually cruel.
In a terrifying and captivating case, 27-year-old Brian Shaffer was a medical student at Ohio State University. At the beginning of 2006, the year of his disappearance, he had suffered the death of his mother, and a young man lead on his girlfriend, Alexis Wagoner. The couple was set to travel to Miami, but the fate had other plans in store. On March 31st, 2006, Brian was starting his spring break. To celebrate, he went out to dinner with his father at a restaurant in Columbus. He looked tired and unmotivated. His father thought Brian was worn out from school. The night before, he had stayed up late studying for exam. That night, Brian left the restaurant and went to meet a friend, Clint Florence. They went bar hopping on different bars in Columbus. Later, a mutual friend, Meredith Fripp, joined them. The group ended up at the Ugly Tuna, where they spent time drinking and listening to music. After a while, Brian left the bar and separated from his friends. Florence and Meredith waited at their table for him to return, staying until the bar closed around 2 a.m. But they didn't see him among the people coming out of the bar. They assumed Brian had left home without telling them. Unfortunately, they were wrong.
Brian was last seen in this Columbus neighborhood, not far from the Ohio State campus. It was early in the morning on Saturday, April 1st. Brian had been out bar hopping with a friend from school.
On April 1st, 2006, Brian had a ticket to fly to Miami with his girlfriend. But as the hours passed and with him not answering calls, his father and friends began to search for him desperately. The police also got involved, and the investigation focused on the Ugly Tuna, the last place where Brian had been seen. The location was in an area that had become dangerous in recent years, which is why it had several security cameras. At this point, the story took a dark turn. At 1:15 a.m., Brian was seen going up the escalator that leads to the bar area. 40 minutes later, at 1:55 a.m., Brian was seen chatting amicably with two women. These two girls then left, and Brian headed back towards the bar. There were no recordings of him leaving when the bar closed. In addition to analyzing these videos, investigators were completely perplexed by a backdoor. These two hypotheses were quickly run out.
I just remember I was very brokenhearted and just very scared and didn't really know what to think. But I think the main question always came down to, is he dead or did he run away?
The streets surrounding the bar were filled with police. One by one, the local residents were interrogated. At every corner, there was a poster with Brian's face. No one had seen the young medical student. How was it possible for someone who had been seen entering a bar to disappear without a trace? Brian's father, brother, and girlfriend all passed the lie detector test that night. The two women who had been talking with Brian were identified but couldn't provide much information. The only one who refused to take the polygraph was Clint Florence. From that moment on, Florence became the main suspect in the eyes of Brian's family. Clint claimed he had nothing more to say, but Brian's father and brother believed he was hiding information. They even considered the possibility that Brian had escaped to another city or country to start a new life, and that Florence knew his whereabouts. But why would he abandon his girlfriend and family? Investigators explored the hypothesis that the young man was going through an emotional crisis due to his mother's recent death. Possible sightings were tracked in Michigan, Texas, and there were even claims that he was in Sweden. Brian's apartment was thoroughly searched, but no evidence was found to support the theory of voluntary disappearance. The case accumulated 4 boxes full of files, and to this day, it is unknown whether he is dead or alive. 3 hypotheses remain. The first is that Brian escaped to fulfill his dream or living on a Pacific island. The second is that Brian was murdered inside the bar, and his body was disposed of with some chemical and hidden between the walls of the ugly tuna. Today, none of these theories are still being investigated by the police.